Hello and welcome back to Building a Better Britain. We are now one day after the Labour Party's first autumn budget and the first Labour budget actually for some 14 years. And it's been an interesting 24 hours trying to understand what this means for inward investment, for development, for construction, affordable housing delivery. So it's taken a bit of time for the dust to settle, but now that's settled, I want to just give some key points as to what I think this budget could mean. Do I think it's the most ambitious budget I've seen in government? Absolutely not. Do I think that the Chancellor and the Prime Minister could have been more ambitious in certain areas? Absolutely. But nevertheless, there's some key points that we need to take away from yesterday's budget. The first being the government's commitment to affordable housing delivery. They have promised to see the delivery of 1.5 million affordable houses over the term of this parliament. So essentially over the next 4.5 years, they will oversee the delivery of 1.5 million new homes. And they've committed £3.1 billion to help support that. So that's a very ambitious target, and we've never seen that being done, certainly in my working life. So let's see how they hope to achieve that over the coming weeks and months. One of the biggest challenges for smaller regional developers is that some of the larger landowners and national house builders have got a monopoly on land, on opportunities, and they are often the ones that local authorities and public sector bodies turn to first when it comes to developing out their land. So what we're seeing is an additional £3 billion being committed to try and prevent land banking, so basically large developers holding on to land whilst it appreciates in value, as opposed to buying land and then delivering housing. So this initiative is ultimately to allow smaller developers that maybe haven't got the resources of some of the bigger national house builders support to try and acquire sites and deliver them in a relatively quick time frame. Which brings me on to my third point, and that is our archaic planning system. A planning system that hasn't really been fit for purpose for at least 10-15 years, I would say. So the bureaucratic delays and the emphasis around sustainability will all be looked at as part of a huge overhaul of the planning system. They're looking at how they can utilise brownfield, grey belt, and land is expected to be expedited where there's a huge need for, say, for example, housing delivery. We've obviously heard that there's a 2% hike in stamp duty, which is, I guess it depends which side of the fence you sit on that. The idea the government had was very much around preventing second homes and encouraging people or discouraging people to buy second and third homes, and encouraging first-time buyers and people ultimately to buy one home and keep those houses to live in, as opposed to speculative investment opportunities that we've seen. So that's somewhat of a controversial one, depending upon what side of the fence you sit on. We've seen a stability and corporation tax, which will be capped at 25%. So hopefully that will see big businesses factor that into their decision making when they consider the UK as an opportunity or a destination for them to come and headquarter their operations. They know that certainly over the course of this parliament it will be capped, so that they can help factor that into their decision making ability. I've mentioned social housing before. One of the challenges around social housing is that local authorities haven't necessarily been empowered to retain 100% of proceeds from council house sales, and funding measures are now going to be put in place to help support that in a more robust way, and more information will come over the coming weeks and months about that. So hopefully there's some positives that we can take from that, certainly for smaller regional house builders, certainly around national delivery of affordable housing, some incentives for smaller organisations as well, SME builders. So let's see what happens in terms of the narrative around some of these announcements, and we'll keep you updated on our channel. Thank you.